A very warm welcome, children. We are in the part 4 concentration of a solution. Lesson is matter around us, pure part 4. Now we are going to start with the problems. Before that, we are speaking about the concentration of solutions. If you see, the amount of solute contained in a solution is less when compared to solvent. So there are three ways of expressing concentration of solution. First one, mass by mass percentage. For example, you're going to prepare solid solutions. For example, you take small amount of salt and mix it in any dough, or you can mix it in any of the flours. So then what is the mass percentage of the solute? Like this you can calculate mass of the solute by mass of the solution into 100. Mass by volume, that is when you prepare a sugar solution, the amount of sugar dissolved in amount of solvent. You can calculate mass by volume percentage of a solution as mass of a solute by volume of a solution into 100. Next one, when you take a small amount of lemon juice and mix it in a sugar solution, we tell it as a lemonade. If you want to find out what is the amount of solute, that is lemon in lemonade solution, then you can calculate volume by volume percentage of a solution, that is volume of the solute by volume of the solution into 100. Now look into your textbook page number 17, children. We are going to solve the problem. Example 2.1. A solution contains 40 grams of a common salt in 320 grams of water. Calculate concentration in terms of mass by mass percentage of the solution. It is given here mass of the solute is 40 grams and mass of the solvent is 320 grams. Now what is the mass of the solution? You have to add both solute plus solvent. Then 40 plus 320 grams, you will get 360 grams. So mass percentage of the solution is equal to mass of the solute, that is 40 grams divided by mass of the solution 360 into 100. When you calculate, you get 11.1 percentage. This is the way you can do the other problems. We'll get it in the exercise, children. Now we are going to see the next part of a lesson, that is how can we separate mixtures. Yes, now we are going to speak about saturated solutions and unsaturated solutions. A solution in which more quantity of solute is dissolved without raising its temperature is called unsaturated solution. Example, if an aqueous solution of salt, more of salt can be dissolved without raising its temperature, then the salt solution will be an unsaturated solution. An unsaturated solution contains lesser amount of solute than the maximum amount of solute which can be dissolved at that temperature. A solution in which no more solute can be dissolved at that temperature is called saturated solution. Example, in an aqueous salt solution, no more salt can be dissolved at this temperature, then the salt will be saturated. That means it is left over. Than that, one particle also will not be dissolved. For example, one more example. Maximum 32 grams of potassium nitrate can be dissolved in 100 grams. That means the capacity of 100 grams of water is at room temperature, it can dissolve 32 grams. If you add one more gram than that, it cannot dissolve. That is called saturated solution. If you heat it or cool it, if you add some more and the precipitate or the salt is left over, then we call it as a supersaturated solution. That is, if a saturated solution available even on heating or at cooling, some of the solute remains undissolved in the form of solid crystals, then we call that solution as a supersaturated solution. Now we are going to see What is meant by solubility? The maximum amount of solute that can be dissolved in 100 grams of solvent at a specific temperature is known as solubility of solute at that solvent. For example, just I told you 32 grams of potassium nitrate KNO3 can be dissolved in only 100 grams of water. Not more than that, water can dissolve. For example, copper sulfate can be dissolved 21 grams, potassium nitrate can be dissolved 32 grams, potassium chloride can be dissolved 34 grams, sodium chloride can be dissolved 36 grams, ammonium chloride can be dissolved 37 grams in 100 ml of water, children. This is all. And sugar can be dissolved 204 grams in 100 ml of water. Now we are going to see what are the factors affecting solubility. The first one is temperature, pressure are the two important factors which affect solubility. The solubility of solids in liquids usually increases on increasing the temperature and decreases on decreasing the temperature. Example, if you take a small amount of sugar crystals and add to water, if you just heat the water, after some time more sugar can be dissolved. That means if you cool the solution, sugar crystallizes. We say that solubility increases with increase in temperature. Solubility decreases with decrease in temperature. Next one, the solubility of solids in liquids remain unaffected by changes in pressure. That means even though if you increase or decrease the pressure, there would not be any change. But the solubility of gases in liquids, that is in aerated water or soft drink, usually decreases on increasing the temperature and increases on decreasing the temperature. Example, when you just send gas into water, when you increase the temperature, what happens? The gas expels out. Generally, when you cool it, what happens? The gas does not expel out. Even when you shake the cool drink bottle, the cool drink expels out of the bottle. This is how we say solubility of gases in liquids usually decreases on increasing in temperature and increases solubility on decreasing the temperature. Now we are going to see another part of a lesson, physical and chemical changes. Children, there are some changes during which no new substances are formed, whereas we can see many types of changes in our day-to-day life at every second. But all the changes are classified into two types, physical change, chemical change. Those changes in which no new substance is formed is called as a physical change. Some common examples are melting of ice, freezing of water, boiling of water, condensation of steam, making a solution, glowing an electric bulb, breaking a glass tumbler. These are the physical changes. When ice is heated, what happens? It melts to form water. But when water is freezed, it forms ice. So here from one form to the other form, it is changing, but the chemical substance, that is water, does not change. Whatever may be the form, but the change is physical. So this type of change, we say it as physical change. There are few changes which can be considered as physical changes. Example, melting of wax, melting of butter in a pan, melting of glass, dissolving common salt in water, making fruit salad from raw fruits, mixing of iron fillings and sand, sublimation of a solid, making soda water by dissolving carbon dioxide in water, formation of clouds, breaking a piece of chalk, stretching a rubber band, cutting or tearing a piece of paper, rotation of fan. All these are considered as physical changes. Now we are going to see what are the chemical changes. Those changes in which a new substance can be formed is called as a chemical change. In these chemical changes, the change in the substances involved changed of their identity. they get converted into entirely new substance. The new substances cannot be returned to their original form. This means the chemical changes are usually irreversible, whereas in physical changes it is reversible. Some common examples of chemical changes are burning of magnesium wire, burning of paper, rusting of iron, ripening of fruits, formation of curd from milk, cooking of food, digestion of different types of substances are considered as permanent changes. For example, if you burn a piece of lighted matchstick or a wood, you can see carbon dioxide, water vapor, smoke and ash are produced. The burning paper is a chemical change. The chemical changes are permanent changes which are usually irreversible. Burning of paper is a permanent change which cannot be reversible. So this is how you can make the differences between a physical change and a chemical change. Thank you, children. We'll meet with the next session, separation of mixtures. Thank you.